Harrison County Community Hospital, your trusted hometown healthcare provider. We're here for you with a 24-hour emergency department, inpatient and outpatient care, and a full range of health services. Our primary care clinics in Bethany, Eagleville, and Pattonsburg are here to meet your everyday health needs. And we're growing with you. Soon we'll open our brand new state-of-the-art hospital. At Harrison County Community Hospital, you'll find compassionate, dependable care. Nowhere are you more important than right here.
Craving authentic Mexican flavor? Come to El Nopal, where every bite tastes like home. From sizzling fajitas and street-style tacos to delectable desserts, El Nopal brings the true taste of Mexico to your table. And now, we can bring the fiesta to you. Book the El Nopal food truck for birthdays, weddings, or any special event. And let us serve up tradition on wheels. El Nopal, authentic Mexican food made with love.
Okay, CF Rainey here on Bulldog Sports TV, another one of our Sports Central interviews brought to you by Harrison County Community Hospital, and joined once again by South Harrison Varsity Baseball coach Jaren VanMeter. And Coach, I was talking to you just before we started here, going back over the schedule, getting back to the games since we've last talked. And so you had a couple games right in a row with you were at Trenton and then Brookfield at home. And that Trenton game you ended up losing 14-8, but it was one of those games you were a little undermanned. You had some players that were gone to a school event, and you went over there, and it was one of those. I wasn't there in person. We didn't broadcast that one, but you had an early lead. It kind of went back and forth. You were able to score 8 runs, but just not able to get the win there at Trenton. Maybe talk about that game a little bit, and then we'll kind of take each game throughout the last few here.
Yeah, we showed up a little down-manned because we had some guys gone for a school trip, which things happen, and you kind of got to have that next man up mentality. And we're lucky to have a pretty resilient group of guys, but we don't have in numbers as a size of the team. We do have in heart and determination, and I think some guys who had to step up and kind of take on some roles. And in the case of a couple guys, they were varsity for the first time ever. And they kind of relished the moment. I mean, that first inning, we jumped on them, I think 3 or 4 runs, and kind of moved the ball around, and it was feeling good. And we played some pretty solid defense, all things considered. And it went back and forth the entire game. It really didn't. That score really isn't indicative to how that game felt, I don't think. I think our guys were really resilient, and really Trenton was really resilient too. And that's ended up being the difference makers. They met our resilience and had a little bit of a deeper rotation, I guess, that night, and started to hit our second guy that we went to. But you can't get really angry at that. I mean, that's just baseball. Eventually you're going to meet, the second guy in the night and the third guy in the night on the mound, and you just got to hope you can capitalize when they give you the pitches to hit.
Yeah, and then you come back, and the very next night you get Brookfield at home. You get those 2 guys back, but literally they walk off a bus from Springfield, Missouri, just before first pitch. So they're able to be in uniform, but everything's not quite at full capacity there. And so it's a Brookfield team that's setting 5-6 overall, kind of similar to you guys in the middle, GRC wise. But you saw their ace that night, and boy, he was really on. And you guys played pretty well, especially after giving up a few runs early. You played fairly even, but just you lose that one 7-1. But just offensively, trying to get a bat on the ball versus him kind of became difficult in that ball game.
Yeah, I tip my cap to Brookfield because they were in a very similar situation. They had guys that had to ride a second bus to Bethany just to get here for FBLA. So we were both in a pretty similar situation, and I think, again, we played really well. We just met their ace, and that Takao or Tishao is, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. That's my fault, but he's a stud. He filled the zone up, was really, really, really competitive, and his wrinkle had a lot of movement on it, his breaking ball, and we struggled to put bat on the ball. We had a couple situations where we had some runners on and just didn't drive him in, but when you're facing a team's ace, it's tough. And Brookfield is one of those teams that I think they're better than their record. They played fairly solid defense and moved runners, kind of small balled us a little bit, took advantage of opportunities that baseball presents. And like I said, their ace who pitched the entire game was lights out. Just one of those nights. Couldn't time him up.
Yeah, and so you end up you lose that one. You get some time off just the way the schedule hit. Um, and then you get polo, a game we were at, a home game. It gets moved back because of weather, and you lose a non-conference game, but you keep that conference game. You get polo, and again you saw their best pitcher, a lefty, and especially in high school baseball, you don't see a ton of lefties. You get lefty. He pitches a really good game. They end up. It was so weird, and you and I talked Saturday morning a little bit before you played North Harrison about that polo game. They get a couple guys on, and they score their runs in identical ways. They're 4 runs. They get a couple guys on. They move over on a pass ball to second and third, and a gapper's hitting the right center. They score 2 runs. 3 innings later, 2 guys on. They move over on a pass ball. They score on a gapper to right center. And that was one of those games. Offensively, they were ahead most of the game, but you guys fought back in dramatic fashion, get a walk off, which was a lot of fun to cover that night at home and with the home crowd and everything, and win that one 5-4.
No, I'm extremely proud of our guys because, like you said, most of the night, really leading up to the sixth inning, we were down and hadn't played at a single run. And, I've even been on teams, even at the college level, that when it gets late in a ball game and you haven't played at any runs and you're kind of just meandering the ball around the infield as a hitter, really not making much happen, you can lay down. And I am extremely proud of our guys because they didn't. They really didn't. They showed intense perseverance and just clawing and scratching and fighting for that next at bat, the next opportunity. I saw guys take leadership roles that previously really hadn't and relayed what a pitcher was doing. Relayed, hit this breaking ball does this. This fastball moves like this. Where in a lot of cases, sometimes that doesn't get relayed and you kind of make the same mistakes. But I saw guys pick themselves up and say, you know what? I really don't want to lose this game in a shutout. So I'm going to take really strong at bats. There was a lot of full counts, a lot of 2-2, and a lot of just walks on some really great at bats, some bloop singles, stolen bases, taking advantage of pass balls, and plating some runs in. And that really kind of mimics that last inning and that walk off. We played really tough defense there in the top of the seventh to keep the game within a run. I commend our defense for that, or not, or approve of our defense because that's not an easy situation. I think they had second and third with 2 outs, and all they would have had to do is, find a gap. And that game is a lot tougher for us in the bottom of the seventh. But we were able to make a pretty solid play on a line drive and really set ourselves up. We felt pretty good because we knew their lefty was probably going to get taken off the mound based on pitch count. And just like what we try and do and what I said with the Trenton game, you try and take advantage of when you get the starter off the bump, right? That's at every level of baseball. You work good at bats, you work long counts, you get that pitch count racked up so you can get them off the bump and see what the bullpen has to offer. And our guys, again, in the seventh, didn't bat an eye, didn't blink. They worked really good counts, really good at bats, showed that perseverance. And at the end of the day, it came down to a guy who really hadn't got a lot of the spotlight this year and has really battled every game and every practice to learn a new position in the outfield and see that varsity speed for the first time in Tallis Marshall. And it worked out for him. I couldn't be more happy for him.
No, and that was a lot of fun because it was a number of guys working. It wasn't just one guy showed up. Obviously, Tallis is the one that gets that hit. But that last inning was interesting, and being the home team was definitely helpful that night. But because it's one of those, you knew you were going to be getting the last at bat in a close game, and you'd worked your way back. And let's see, I'm trying to go back. Was it right? Bryson was on. Joel gets the hit to drive him in, and then they end up with Joel McCall, one of your seniors, on base. You got 2 seniors getting ready to come up at that point. They come out. They intentionally walk Ruger Johnson. So he goes on. Then they think about it. Brody Templeton's getting ready to step into the batter's box. They intentionally walk Brody Templeton to load the bases. And then again, it works its way around. Tallis Marshall comes up, and they're probably thinking, "Hey, this is the guy we want. He's not one of their seniors in the first half of their lineup." And he comes up and delivers, and that's always fun. Especially, I'm around the kids a lot. When you see kids have those moments, it's a lot of fun. And so that was a dramatic win. Then you turn around and you go to North Harrison on Saturday morning. It was supposed to be a tournament. A team backed out, so it just ends up being a varsity matchup with North Harrison, and you end up losing that one 6-4. It was really similar to that game you played back in March versus them. The difference was your offense came on long balls. All your offense came on home runs that game, with Brody Templeton having a couple of solo shots and Ruger Johnson with a two-run homer. But you lose that 6-4. Defense at times, just a couple of small moments, which was almost identical to that first game. Maybe cost you a couple runs. But go up there early on a Saturday morning. Maybe talk about that game, that last game you had on Saturday.
I think it was another test to our perseverance as a team. Um, I mean, you know as well as I do, I played at South Harrison. Anytime you're going up the road, that short trip to play Eagleville, it doesn't just feel like a random day in April. It's big, right? You're playing, I wouldn't call, I mean, anytime you play someone close that you know, it kind of adds to the atmosphere and the emotion of it. I mean, most of those guys on both teams have either played with or against each other basically their entire lives. And I think at first you saw some of that emotion cause some pressing or trying to force some plays, but we were able to quickly kind of relax, figure out, okay, this is just a baseball game. Yes, we want to play really well against these guys because we've known them our whole lives, but we've got to do it by playing good baseball. And we kind of dug ourselves into a hole. We were down 6-1 pretty early, third inning, fourth inning, maybe. In the last couple innings, we put together again great at bats. I've seen guys like Tallis Marshall, like Ruger Johnson, like Brody Templeton, who's kind of had a slow start, work, go to the lab every day in practice and just work and work and work and work to try and better themselves, to put them in a better situation in the batter's box. And that paid off, I think, on Saturday. The approaches were better. We were seeing pitches better, longer into the zone, and able to barrel them up better. I know the scoreboard wasn't in our favor on Saturday, but that approach and that adjustment in the box and the ability to kind of calm down on the defensive side of the ball, and the fact that we had our second or third guy pitching in Corbin Heil, who did an absolute great job keeping everything at bay, and I don't think he had a single earned run in that entire game. And then Joel McCall coming in 2 days in a row threw, I think, 24 pitches against Polo and ended up throwing 25 or 6 against Eagleville and held them at bay. I know the scoreboard wasn't in our favor, but we were adjusting and we're playing better baseball. And I think all the guys feel it. I feel it. It's really rewarding to see them have that success and kind of finally figure out who they are on this team. Some teams do it day one, some teams do it in the middle of the year. And I think really, if you want to play your best baseball, you might as well play it at the end of the year when realistically postseason's around the corner and everybody's 0-0 at the start, right?
Yeah, and so we're getting to that point. It's crazy looking at these spring seasons. It seems like how short they are when you're in those winter seasons of basketball and wrestling. Man, it feels like you go forever. You start before Christmas and you end up in February. But here we're in the second half of the season, and you and I were talking before we started recording too. You're setting at 3-3 in the GRC, which is right in the middle of the pack. You still have games versus Gallatin, a scheduled game for. We're recording this on Sunday afternoon. On Monday, obviously, anyone around here knows it's raining, so stay tuned to see when we're able to get that game in. That'll be a game we'll live stream on Bulldog Sports TV. But you get a Gallatin team that's sitting ahead of you. You've already got a win over Maysville, who's sitting in second, and they're a top 10 in state team ranked. You still have a game against Putnam, who sits ahead of you at 4-2. So a chance, maybe not necessarily to get a GRC championship. Obviously, things could work out depending on who plays who, but at least to finish in the top half of the conference with a winning record in the GRC, which would be a big feat because there's some good teams in conference.
Yeah, and I think again, just I know I kind of sound like a broken record, but these guys did not show up on day one in a lot of their natural positions. I mean, you look at guys like Tallis Marshall, who's usually an infielder or a catcher by trade, and he's having to play the outfield just because of the alignment we need with certain guys pitching. A Gage Barclay, who stepped into a varsity role, a Micah Beatty, who stepped into a varsity role, a Ruger Johnson, who's playing first base, Bryson Quinley and Tegan Alexander split catching duties. These are guys that are really still fighting to get way more comfortable in their positions. And I think you're starting to see them finally figure it out to a point where they can really enjoy it, right? Rely on it and feel good playing it. The comfort with baseball is a big part of your success. And they're finally starting to see that. And we're starting to see that in some better successful games in our favor. And I think really finishing top half in GRC and having a puncher's chance at coming away with a split title or even a full title if baseball happens and chaos happens, it's a great place to be. And I really hope these guys see that opportunity and take pride in that, because realistically, starting the year, I don't know that a lot of people would have thought we were middle of the pack in the GRC, and I think we've kind of shocked some people, and that's something you can hang your hat on. I feel really good about that, and I hope the guys do too. And I, again, cannot be happier for my ball club.
No, you're playing right. You're in games. It's not one of those. Just look at the schedule. You look over. Obviously, you played at Faith Christian Academy. Uh, really good team. But right in ball games and having a chance in even these games where you've come up with a loss, to get a chance to get a win has been big. And so, Coach, good luck on these games coming up. We hope to hopefully get the Gallatin game in quickly, because I know it's your last scheduled home game, senior night, and a number of seniors on this team. We appreciate your time and look forward to continuing to cover you guys throughout the season. And hopefully next time we talk, we got a few more wins under our belt.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Coach.